What's up, 49er fans? I'm Jason Aponte. A lot of news on day 2 of free agency. Stick around. We're going to cover it all. Welcome, everybody. Let's go, Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. What's up, 49er fans? I'm Jason Aponte. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. A lot to cover today. Most notably, Jake Brendel's back on a 4-year deal. Emmanuel Moseley has moved on to Detroit. We just got news that Aziz Al-Shaair has signed with the Tennessee Titans. And where does this leave the 49ers in terms of free agents, what targets, and what they'll do in the draft? So I think the best place to start is Jake Brendel. I have to say that I'm actually kind of shocked at the re-signing. The money itself is not bad. It's $8 million guaranteed, 4 years, over $20 million. So meaning it's essentially like a 3-year deal, like a $3 million per year deal. It's not a big deal, right? Like, and I think when you consider what the 49ers got from Brendel, who had played 3 games prior to last season and this year played in all 20, allowed 1 sack. You can bring up the penalties and drops, and holds and all those things. Okay, but considering it seems like the team was very happy with what they got from him, and continuity at center has kind of eluded the 49ers after Weston Richburg, and they had Alex Mack for a year. I think they're kind of chasing that right now, and they really like what they got. Plus, don't discount the Chris Forrester connection, meaning this is really why he was here. I think this is a very solid move. I think this gives the 49ers a chance to have someone who's ready to step in with continuity, while letting Nick Zakelj, Jason Poe, whoever it is that they would like to develop behind the scenes, just develop. So I think this is a really fine deal, especially when you break down the numbers. Last year he made $1.4 million, if I'm not mistaken. Now he gets a $3 million per year deal after the $8 million guaranteed. So I mean, the going rate for centers wasn't really something that was big. You saw Garrett Bradbury leave, stay in Minnesota for not like a huge amount of money or anything like that. So I like it. I like the continuity version of it. Now, essentially, all this means is right tackle is something that's a bit up in the air. But I do think this is where the 49ers, now that they've actually taken care of center, they kind of have their cornerback room set up at least a little bit more now clear with Emmanuel Moseley not returning. We think you'll see Lenore out there again, possibly Samuel Womack, possibly someone that they can add in free agency. But I do think that the 49ers are kind of primed right now to take a bunch of these comp picks, possibly another pick from another draft, and move up for an impact right tackle. It's weird because the 49ers have done a great job of drafting guys, letting them sit. Aaron Banks then step in when someone leaves. But Spencer Burford played last year, and I still think that bringing back Daniel Brunskill will really, really help you out in terms of your depth, because of, I'm going to pound the table for that as well, because of how well he plays all 5 positions. So I do think the 49ers have a chance to move up now in this draft and get a right tackle that's an impact player. So I do think that that's possible. And now the 49ers have kind of taken care of a bunch of needs now, and now they can possibly go best player available. They can possibly really make a splash for a guy that they really want. So that's the good news, right, with all of these things. When you leave too many things up in the air, it kind of telegraphs your pick in the draft, right? You have needs and you have to address them, and everyone knows your needs. Now, the 49ers don't have pressing needs now at this point. They can go for best player available if they want to sit, or if they want to move up and target a guy that they really like, that is on the table as well too. Amazing flexibility in this draft. I think it's incredible at this point. All right, so let's see. All right, I guess we should just start and then talk about Emmanuel Moseley. And this is the first thing that I've been seeing. We couldn't slide Emmanuel $6 million to stay. Emmanuel didn't want to come back. That's it. It's not that the 49ers didn't match. What if they told him, here's $6 million. I don't want to come back. Why can't that ever be a possibility? Why does it always have to be the 49ers didn't match? The 49ers were willing to match anything. But Emmanuel Moseley didn't want to come back. I don't know why. He wanted to move on somewhere else and play somewhere else. And that's it. It's possible. It happens all the time. So for everybody to kind of just say, well, the 49ers didn't match, from what I'm told, Emmanuel Moseley didn't want to come back. It happens. It happens. He'll take his time over there. He doesn't have to rush to camp or anything like that. He can come back whenever he wants. But It's very possible that he didn't want to come back. And that's what I heard. So that's it. I mean, it has little to do with the 49ers not wanting him back, but it takes two to tango. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily $6 million was the reason that he left. He wanted to go. He wanted to go. The 49ers were going to match anything that he was thrown, as long as it wasn't something like what Spotrac was saying was like $16 million. I'm very certain that they said, we'll give you $6 million. And he said, I want to go somewhere else and play. You have to remember, state taxes, right? Take that $6 million and cut it into whatever it is because of California. That's why you generally see the 49ers overpay guys because of taxes. So that's it. Like, he just didn't want to come back. That's all. That's all. And they really like Diamador Lenore. I think that's another thing. They love the way that he played down the stretch in the playoffs. I think he played very well. And the numbers bear that out. I mean, he had 2 interceptions in the playoffs, and he didn't give up many catches. So it's a combination of they're fine with Lenore, and Emmanuel didn't want to come back. $6 million in Detroit isn't $6 million in San Francisco or Santa Clara, based on taxes, everything. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. I thought I saw another one here too as well. Lee, I love this idea. Freeland, late second, early third. I'd love that. Freeland is 6'7". He's a freak, man. And he's great in run blocking. He can get to the second level. They can use him. I love this idea. Don't tell Brad Graham he's gonna lose it. Basically at this point. All right, let's see. Slick, this is the one I was looking for. Yo, Jay, does this mean the Niners are going after a cornerback in free agency? Very possible. Jordan Elliott just put out a tweet about Sean Murphy-Bunting, the Tampa Bay Bucks. He's only 25. He can play in the slot and outside. I do think, again, Lenore, they have a ton of confidence in him. The nickel corner slot, Samuel Womack was there for a little bit. After that, it kind of gets dicey because they went right to Jimmy Ward when he was able to come back. So I do think that they'll look at somebody in free agency. I don't think that they have shown the confidence right away to throw guys out there in the draft. So I do think that they have to look in free agency, and I do think that that's very possible. So good call. Let's see. Let me see. I thought I saw a double up here. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Nicholas, again, how do you see our DB shaking out and who's starting where? So Lenore, Ward, and if you had to put a gun to my head right now, March 14th, while the 49ers are still maneuvering, making cap space, which is what they did today with restructuring Mooney Ward's contract, it would have to be Samuel Womack, I would think. But I don't think the Niners are done. I think there's more restructures down the line. I think the 49ers are waiting because they have until tomorrow at 4 o'clock to make all these things official. You have to be cap compliant. And with the signing of Brendel back and Hargrave, they're going to have to make that work. So I do think there's one more restructure, but I do think they're trying to put off restructuring as much as they can if they can afford it, right? So we'll see. But right now, I mean, I would say best guess, because there's nobody else on the roster that you can really trust. It would probably be Samuel Womack at this point. And then this is kind of like you get half of the $6 million if you stay in Cali, and you lose 51% of your income between state and federal. In Detroit, $6 million is far closer to $6 million. And I just think that has a lot to do with it, especially it being a one-year deal. So he gets a chance to go play somewhere else, prove himself. He gets to go right across from Jeff Okudah, and he gets more of his money. I think that's just what it boils down to more than anything. And I don't think it's anything personal. And I think the 49ers were willing to match, but $6 million in Cali is not $6 million in Michigan. So I think that's it, really. Aziz is gone, but Marcelino going to step in. We're going to be good. Yeah, it seems like Marcelino McCrary Ball is ready to go. Like, again, the 49ers have done this, right? Tart leaves, Hufanga's ready to go. Tomlinson leaves, Banks goes right in. Like they've shown that they're going to be able to do things like this. They've been kind of bracing for the Aziz, leaving, and good for him, man. I love Aziz. He's about to show everybody what he's worth, and I'm so happy he's going to get his opportunity over there in Tennessee. But I do think that they're looking at Marcelino McCrary Ball. There is still Oren Burks. There is still DFF. So there are options, but I do think that they're looking at him. Marcelino's faster. He just needs to play a little bit more under control, and I think he'll be fine. So, yeah. And again, what you have to remember, too, is the 49ers are not going to be in base a ton. I mean, this league right now is getting farther and farther away from base downs. Like, you might see him on first down, maybe, if they're not spread out. You'll see a lot more nickel just because of the way of the league. So, like, that third linebacker spot, it's not as imperative. And that's what you kind of saw with Aziz, on top of the fact that he was injured for a little while, is that teams are just not going to let you be in base unless you want to try to put Aziz on a slot receiver or a high-end tight end. I don't think that's good for anybody. So, yeah, I mean, more and more, when people talk about base defense, you're not going to be in base very much. It's just the way of the league. Everybody's just moving to a more spread offense. So, I knew you were going to ask this. What are we doing at kicker? You know what? Actually, this is actually a really, really good topic because it's probably the last thing that we don't know. So, obviously, Matt Gay got paid by the Indianapolis Colts. I wouldn't pay that for a kicker. But Matt Gay is very good. Let's make sure we say that. He's very good. So the 49ers have two options, right? You look for a veteran. There's a guy like Eddie Pinheiro that's out there. He can kick the ball out of the end zone. That's my preference. Or you can draft a guy. Everybody's like, oh, just draft a guy, right? The problem is with this franchise kicker idea that I don't know where this came from, that all of a sudden you need to draft your kicker of the future, which is just, in my opinion, rubbish, is that they rarely stick around for second-year deals. Like, I mean, Justin Tucker was undrafted. Like, most of the best kickers, undrafted. Why waste draft capital on a kicker when there's actual data to draft picks not panning out and not staying with the team? Like, did you guys forget about Roberto Aguayo? Like, every time someone goes and drafts a kicker, they never stick around for a second contract. So there's more success in finding a kicker in this process, just in the kicker pool. So I would prefer Eddie Pinheiro. He was very solid last year kicking the field goals, and then he can kick the ball out of the end zone, which limits the returns. So I'm good with Eddie Pinheiro. For me, I don't want to use a draft pick on a kicker. None. I mean, you got Brock Purdy with the last pick in the 7th round. The 49ers have shown in 5th rounds they can get great players. George Kittle, right? So Hufanga, I believe, was in round 6. Why waste that pick on a kicker? That's just my opinion. And that's just me being calm, not me yelling about kickers or don't matter, all that stuff. So I just think you should sign Eddie Pinheiro. I think that's really, really smart. So, all right, let's see. Let's go through real quick. Yeah, can't blame them for taking the money. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you know, it's a business sometimes. So, let's see. All right. I don't want to draft Moody, Cody, and Tina. You don't need a franchise kicker. You just don't. You know, Robbie Gould was bouncing around. The 49ers picked him up. You know, Phil Dawson, David Akers. You find guys in free agency that you can pay that are reliable. That's just where I'm at with it. But, you know, it is what it is. I knew you guys were just going to start with the kickers don't matter stuff. Trade up into the second for Moody. Joey, I'm going to block you. I swear I'm going to block you. Watch the Dallas kicker rebound and sign him. And I do think that's a really good point, too, about aside from the top 5 guys, is like these enormous swings in terms of kickers. And one year they literally make every kick. Next year they can't even put it through. Like, the fluctuation in production is just, it's too hard to set your watch to. And Cody and Tina, you're telling me if he's not there in the 6, you wouldn't? No. When you drafted someone like Talanoa Hufanga, who was an All-Pro in 1 year, give me a chance on a football player. Let's take a chance on a football player that you can try to cultivate, that you like, that'll work in your system. I don't care. I don't care about kicker. I really don't. It does not matter. It doesn't. And if you have shown success in the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds, why wouldn't you take a chance on an actual football player? That's it. I would take a chance on a football player. That's it. Moody in the 6th. I mean, it wouldn't kill me, but it's just like, you necessarily just watched Talanoa Hufanga in his first year from round 6 become an All-Pro, and everybody wants to like make sure you lock in a kicker. What if you draft another position player and they turn out in 1 or 2 years to be very good? Wouldn't you consider that more valuable than a kicker? That's all I'm saying. All right. So Emmanuel Moseley moves on. It looks like it's going to be Lenore, Womack, Mooney Ward. Fine with that for now. I wouldn't put the 49ers out of looking for a free agent cornerback. So that's it, right? As far as draft targets now, I think the 49ers are in a position where they can really jump up for a right tackle. And I do think that they can take some of these picks and move them up, right, to get up into the 2nd round now at this point. You know, the flexibility that they have now, that they have less needs now, it's so great right now at this point. So what do we expect now more, right? Like, what else can we do? I think you can expect probably one more restructure. one more restructure that'll open things up. They do need to address edge. So if it's not a right tackle, then you can jump up for an edge you really like. Right? I think Byron Young has priced himself out of the 49ers range unless they move up and the board falls in such a way, because they did meet with him before he had his incredible combine workout. Get another edge. Your defensive line is pretty solid now at this point. You know what you have. You're expecting Drake Jackson to take a leap. Good. You bring in another edge. Fine. That's again, you can actually move up and get a guy. Now, the other thing is, what if Zadarius Smith, I'm sorry, because I see Young in here. Zadarius Smith gets cut, right? You have to clear money to sign him. I mean, he had an incredible season. He's still there. It seems like the Vikings are trying to move many of their guys out. So where are the areas of need for the 49ers in draft and free agency now at this point? I guess you can say corner, but I would say edge and right tackle are probably the biggest areas of need right now, and where you can really move up in the draft or possibly make a splash, one more in free agency. So, yeah, I mean, and again, you know, Jordan just sent out a tweet saying the same exact thing. Sean Murphy-Bunting would be a great signing for a replacement for Eman. You know, it's move him inside, move him outside. They didn't use it all. They got almost $10 million back with the Mooney Ward restructure, and they can still restructure either Eric Armstead, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, one of those guys, and open up more space. Remember, they still have to open up more space to sign their draft picks too, and they have a bunch of them. So it's still a process. I think they're kind of watching how the market lays itself out. And you have to remember too, on Tuesday at 4:15, you know, Eastern time, there's going to be teams that are still going to be cutting players as well too, that we didn't think were going to be available, right? That'll be out there. So the 49ers have to keep themselves flexible with what they can do with the restructures. That's why you're not seeing so many restructures so fast. Plus, they have a whole other day to do it. Oh, you was just joking. I'm sorry, Final Push. That's why you're kind of seeing them like wait a little bit longer. They're trying to see where the market develops. They're trying to see what guys come available, and they're trying to figure out how it all works. So it's still a process. Right now I'm applauding them. I understand the Emmanuel Moseley thing has people upset. I don't think that they didn't match it. I just think Emmanuel Moseley wanted to move on. But the Brendel thing is very good because that calms a lot of fears. I think, again, when you think about the price point of $1.4 million that you got him for last year, and you got 20 games and allowed 1 sack, that's bang for your buck. Now you bring back Daniel Brunskill, and now you've got somebody who can insulate you just in case of injury or poor play. And now you can really get greedy in this draft or free agency if you move some more money around. So I just think that right now the 49ers are doing a very good job. They're also showing patience with the people that they have. This was a huge vote of confidence for Diamador Lenore, it felt like, where while I say that Emmanuel Moseley is leaving, they were praising him out of the door. And who could argue at the end of the year he was very good. And it'll give guys a chance at camp to figure out who they are. So, yeah, I mean, right now, I don't really have a problem with this team right now. And then one other thing that you really have to look around at is the NFC is getting incredibly weak. I mean, the Vikings are looking to sell everybody right now at this point. Philly has lost nearly every defensive player on that side of the ball, right? And then it's like Dallas and like the Giants and, you know, Seattle, right? The NFC is very weak right now. And regardless of whatever you feel about the 49ers quarterback room, you still have a top 1-2 roster. Now, I would argue you have the top roster now with Hargrave and what's about to come. Like, you still have that. You still have that. So now, with everybody else weakening, you know, it sounds like Aaron Rodgers is about to leave. It's really right now the 49ers have it all in front of them. And I think this front office and organization realizes that. They realize that they look, we have a shot right here to get back to where we want to go. There's not much competition in our way. And I think that it's fine for them to do what they've been doing. A lot of people really lost sight of certain things, right? When they say, oh, well, you know, the 49ers are not aggressive in the first few days. Well, I think what you mean is they didn't get flashy names in the first few days. Because if you go down the list, Malcolm Smith, Jerick McKinnon, Quan Alexander, like those are the first days of legal tampering. Just because they weren't exactly like splash names like Hargrave is a splash name. Just because they weren't, you can't confuse that with not being aggressive. They just identified players that weren't exactly splash moves for this team, right? Like, and they paid all those guys right away. So yeah, like for me, there was a little bit of a discrepancy in between aggressiveness and splash moves for big names. And I think that's the difference, right? Like you were aggressive in signing Quan Alexander and Malcolm Smith and Jerick McKinnon, but those weren't exactly splash moves like Hargrave. So I think that's kind of where it was like that as well, too. So shout out to everybody in here, almost 170 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. A lot to cover now with free agency. Free agency is just flying now at this point. Plenty of teams have upgraded themselves. I probably think that the two teams that made themselves better are in almost every way, the Bears and the Falcons. They've done an incredible job bringing in people, and they're moving in the right direction. But the 49ers undoubtedly with the Hargrave move, getting continuity back with Brendel, still have put themselves as the top roster in the NFC, and that's even before another free agency move and the draft as well too. So I love it. I love what's going on here. So I'll take some questions from you guys. It's a little bit right now at this point. Wait and see. I mean, my phone's been buzzing. I don't know if anything else came across. The Jets have signed Alan Lazard. That means, they're definitely trying to bring in Aaron Rodgers. I think that's almost done. Again, love to Aziz Al-Shaair. Oh, I can't wait to see you play, man. I can't wait to see you get your shot. I think that's incredible, man. So, yeah, I mean, look, again, right now, it seems like corner, it seems like right tackle, and it seems like edge. Those are the three places the 49ers need to address in free agency or in the draft now. But they've narrowed that down by bringing back Brendel, by getting Hargrave. Now you don't have to address those two needs, and you've made yourself feel a lot better, about those needs, and now you can be more flexible. So, you guys are arguing with Amelia, man. You got to understand that he's here to rile you guys up, man. You have to know that. Okay. Uncle Salty, shout out to you, man. Will the Niners trade up in the draft? Who will they trade up to get? I thought I saw somebody really pull up earlier, Blake Freeland of and don't tell Brad because he's gonna go nuts, man. He's 6'7". He's incredible in the run game, man. I think he would be a plug and play guy, like right there in the beginning. He still needs a little bit of development, but I think that Kyle Shanahan would put him in spots where he's not out on islands or anything like that. But 6'7", he's an absolute dog. He's fast. He can move. I love it, man. For sure. Let's see. Lee Ving, honest opinion on the trade talk. I don't know why you would do that when the reason that you're able to get Hargrave and load up this defense, because the offense is fine now at this point, is because you're paying your quarterback room. What is it now with the Sam Darnold deal? $16 million for 3 quarterbacks. Why would you do that? Why would you do that right now? I don't understand that. And to be pretty frank, and I know people may take this the wrong way, what exactly is Trey Lance's value right now with how little he's played? For the 49ers, you incur a dead cap hit if you get rid of him, and I feel like you're selling him short. You're probably going to get, what, a third or a fourth for Trey Lance? I don't think anybody in their right mind right now is giving a 1 from him just because of the uncertainty. So you hold on to him, you try to develop him and see if you make that jump again, and the room is incredibly cheap. And if Trey Lance hits what we think he's going to be, okay. So I just don't think that it's smart to even talk the trade thing. I don't know where it's coming from, but when you look at the business and the dollars and cents of it, it's the reason the 49ers are able to spend on Hargrave and they're able to bring guys back is because they're not paying their quarterback room anything. I mean, for God's sakes, Derek Carr just got $35 million as one quarterback. Jameis Winston just got 8. That's 43 right there. The 49ers are going to be at 16, I believe, with 3 quarterbacks, including Darnold. I mean, that's just good business right now. And that's why everybody's excited about the rookie contract prospect, right? Because when you have a very good team and you have a rookie contract, you can just load up and load up and load up because you're not paying that guy and you don't have to for a few years. So that's why it's always kind of been the dream to try to win a bowl with a rookie, whether it's Brock, whether it's Trey, whatever it is, because you can insulate your team all the way around. So I really don't get the trade talk for 2 reasons. One, it's the reason you're in the position that you are right now in terms of being able to spend. And 2, you're going to be selling him incredibly short without knowing what you have after you invested all that. That would be incredible sunk cost. All those first-round picks to get like a 3rd or a 5th or something like that for him. And then what if Trey Lance goes somewhere else and becomes the guy that we thought he'd be? That's just bad all around. I just think that you just got to see what you got now at this point. So, all right, guys, 25 minutes in, almost 200 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. A lot of content this week, man, going on. So, let's see. Shout out to all you guys in here, man. The chat's lit, man. Oh, here we go. Dean. I'm gonna tell Brad. Don't make me tell Brad. Don't make me tell Brad. The offseason became a W when Mid Glinchy, God, can't lie, it's actually pretty good. Mid Glinchy was officially off the team. Hey man, shout out to Mike, man. He got his bag, man. I'm good. We don't gotta slander him. One more thing, too, right? I want to tell 49er fans something. Jimmy Garoppolo's not here anymore. That's it. Mike McGlinchey's not here anymore. That's it. No need to discuss them anymore. No need to discuss them anymore. No need to point out their shortcomings. No need to point out what they got paid. Any of that. That's not our business. It's not our business. Not our business anymore. We are free and clear of it. So much right now is in front of this team and what they can build around. It's just, I've still seen people today on Tuesday after Garoppolo signed, I can't believe they paid him all that money and he's not even better than Carr. Not our problem. Not our problem anymore. We don't have to talk about him or Mike McGlinchey anymore. Not our problem. We're good now. We're free and clear. We get to focus on Brock, focus on Lance, and Sam Darnold. And there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, thanks for the time here. Had some laughs. Cool. Move on. That's it, man. It's the Raiders' problem, and it's Denver's problem now. Not our problem, man. That's it. And Mike did get the bag, man. I think it's a little bit of age, who was out there. And I think that the league has a little bit higher opinion, more high of opinion than 49er fans do of him. But either way, not our problem anymore. We get to focus on Brock's recovery, Trey Lance and Darnold in camp, and this team being loaded again, ready for another deep run. So I'm good. I'm good. The signing of Jake Brendel, what does that say about Poe and Zakelj? Look, I think, again, coach has his guys, right? And the trust factor, right? The trust circle, like in Meet the Parents. And he trusts Brendel, right? And maybe right now they're not as thrilled with Zakelj's development, Poe's development. Poe's very small. Poe, everybody gets enamored with Poe in terms of his athleticism, all that stuff. He's very small. So you get 20 games out of Brendel. You get what you get, from him in terms of production. I think that they don't want to mess around with the center that they would have to develop further or see what it's about. So I don't think it really says anything other than that Kyle wants to keep Brendel around because of how well he did and because of what this team has in front of him. I think that's it, really. And yeah, Cody and Tina, Jimmy Ward is a Texan. Shout out to him, man. I can't wait to watch him roam that backfield with Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley. Man, Jalen Petrie was my favorite safety last year, and Derek Stingley's a stud. But throwing Jimmy Ward back there with them, man, good for Jimmy. Felt like he got not as much as he could have gotten, especially because I consider him to be one of the better safeties that was out there. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, like this is the thing too. It's like everybody kind of loved the idea of Poe because there was those videos of him like running routes, and you're just like, oh, Kyle put him in the fullback spot, all those things. And then you read that he's a center and he's strong, man. Like he bench pressed like I think the highest amount like in high school, but he is small in terms of how it comes down to if you just watch Jake Brendel get pushed around by Hargrave, thank God we don't have to worry about that anymore now that he's a Niner. I don't think Jason Poe would have fared more. So I just it's possible to have guys in the background. Here's what's really funny is last year they got Donovan West as an undrafted free agent. I was almost dead certain that he was going to be on the team, especially when you look at that contract. Donovan West is in the XFL right now. So the 49ers take chances and they look, but then they realize, okay, he's not developing it the way that we like, and this is a concern. This is a concern. So I just think it really boils down to Brendel returning because of what he did last year. And Kyle just has his way of trusting his guys. That's it. That is really it, man. And then when you really look at this too, Salty, Brendel's the bridge center until they find a younger starter. I think that's 100% sure. Few options to choose from: Zakelj, Poe, and future picks. The other thing is Brendel's deal is essentially a 2-year deal. After that, there's and everybody who's getting deals, when everybody gets hung up on, oh my God, a 4-year deal, oh my God, this amount of deal, it's all of these contracts, if you look around the league, are pretty much loaded for, here's your money up front. And the 49ers are notorious for this. Here's your money up front the first 2 years. After that, we can move off of you at any time that we want. That's kind of where it is with Brendel. So if something goes wrong, if he can't repeat his success, they're not on the hook for too much. So that's it. I really think that that's fine. DeMarcus Dixon says, any thoughts on Trey Herndon if we sign him? I mean, he's a great slot receiver, slot corner, great slot corner. I think that he would automatically start right next to Lenore if they wanted to do that. The 49ers, Josina Anderson did report that the 49ers were interested in him as well, too. But if you wanted my thoughts, I would rather go for Sean Murphy-Bunting. I just think he has too much flexibility, and I think there's still some untapped potential, especially with Steve Wilkes there. Either would be great, but give me SMB. I would take him over those guys as well. And yeah, again, it's 2 years at $4 million per, but he got $8 million up front guaranteed. So, all right, 30 minutes in, 200 people in here. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Likes are huge. They help me grow. They help us get shot up on the algorithm. So just open up close the chat out. Make sure you hit that like button. It's probably the best thing you could do for your boy if you want to help me out. So I'll take some other questions that you guys want, but I feel like I covered everything from today. Kind of the thought process of like what's going to happen. There'll be plenty more to talk about. I'll probably be doing this show, and let me know, guys, if you want me to do an afternoon show in which I recount everything during free agency. I'll definitely do it. I'm home. It's snowing outside. Not really any need to go outside at this point. Plus, I've been cooking on my PlayStation 5, playing what is it, Last of Us 2 again. Let's see. Thoughts on JD McKissick? From what I hear, that injury is really bad, and that's why Washington's moving off of him. Like, he may not play again this year. So I don't know if that's a possibility depending on that. Joey, I'm so glad you asked. So glad you asked. Because the 49ers have a blocking tight end in Charlie Warner. They can get themselves a running mate. And there's 3 guys that I wrote about on Niners Nation. One, I think, is kind of out of the 49ers range right now, Sam Laporta of Iowa. But incredible yards after the catch, very fast, showed out at the combine, said the 49ers had contact with them. Okay, that's one. The second is Will Mallory from Miami. I think he was the second fastest, if I'm not mistaken, at the combine, running 40. He is somebody that's completely underrated, is really good at the catch point. And then it's Kuntz Hive. Zach Kuntz of ODU, man. ODU, this kid runs the fastest 40. He's huge. He's 6'7". It's one of those 3 for me. Seems like Laporte is out of the range, but I would be fine with Zach Kuntz in the 4th or 5th round if he falls, because his game speed doesn't match his 40 speed. And that's something that's very true. But for me, I would love to see Zach Kuntz. It just feels like 6'7" guy that's huge. You could throw the ball to him. It would be either him or Will Mallory for me from Miami. So those are the 3 guys that I'm on right now in terms of that. But that can change, especially when needs get filled, right? Like, I think we can wipe off Atlanta as a tight end needy team, right? They got Pitts and Jonnu Smith. The Giants are probably not going to be looking for a tight end. They just traded for Darren Waller. So all of that's going to change, and depending on how the board goes, there'll be other targets. But those are the 3 guys I've got my hands on, because my eyes on, because they're fast. And the 49ers have got to stop with the whole, like, you got to block. Get yourself a wideout that you can put on the field in the red zone sometimes. That's a big target. And yeah, you might have to take Kyle Juszczyk off the field, because that's just how, again, you're paying him so much and you use him and he's so valuable. But it's just like, come on, can't we just get another weapon? Maybe run 2 tight ends. Everybody wants 2 tight ends, but they're worried about, well, if he can't block, he's not going to play. Well, let Charlie Warner block, because he can't catch. I want to go with straight up like a speed tight end 2. Like, that's it, like, right away. So Ariel, Tunyon, Hooper, Gesicki. Tunyon, I think, is cooked. Hooper's whatever. Gesicki has potential, but I would rather them just go into the draft and get somebody. They've shown that they can identify a little bit better than that. Don Burr. Yo, is Moseley a good pickup by the Lions? Let them know. Don, you got yourself a good one. So from what I heard, what I was told, Moseley has a chance to be ready for camp. Sounds like he shouldn't rush himself, because if he is able to take a few games off, take his time back, I mean, you're just going to pair him right up there with Okudah. Probably one of the best number 2 corners in the league. Was showing out again this year. Unfortunately, tore his ACL. ACLs may take people a little bit longer to come back from. But yeah, man, Don Burr, you got yourself a good one, man. The Lions are going, man. The Lions are moving, man, and I love it for you, buddy. But enjoy Eman, take care of him because you have him for a year. My best guess is he's going to play very well for you guys, and he's going to straight up open up his market, and he's going to get a bag somewhere else. So enjoy him. Enjoy him. And you got Cam Sutton. Well, the thing is, Emmanuel Moseley has slot experience as well, too. I think he played it in college, if I'm not mistaken. So if you can start Cam Sutton outside, move him inside, that's a hell of a trio, man. That is a hell of a trio. But don't sleep on Moseley playing outside, man. Moseley's a baller, man. You guys got a really, really good one, man. I'm so happy for you, buddy. And yeah, thank you, Eman. Like Callie said, it sucks, man. It really does. I mean, this is just the nature of the business. Can't keep everybody. Everybody's going to want to branch out, do their own thing. You know, Eman's leaving the nest, so we can wish him well. But him and Jeff Okudah, you know, and Cam Sutton, that's a hell of a trio, man. Detroit's just missing a defense from being a team that can really, really open things up because that offense is so good. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams, that's going to be a hell of a tandem for years to come. So, yeah, man, shout out to Don Burr, shout out to the Lions, man. Let's go. Moseley is Metcalf's father. I love the energy. I love the energy. Joe says, I'm worried about cornerback depth now. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You know, you're going to have Lenore on one side. You're going to have Mooney on the other side. The whole nickel corner situation, you know, they brought up Trey Herndon. You know, Sean Murphy-Bunting is somebody that you can go to and get in free agency. Samuel Womack would likely be the in-house guy. And then after that, it's like, who knows? So, yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's fair to be a little bit worried about that. But I have a feeling the 49ers are going to address it one way or another, and they won't be able to run with the guys that they have. Unfortunately, Ambry Thomas didn't take the steps that they liked. And Womack, you know, did kind of lose the job to Lenore. And then when Lenore had to take over for Moseley, they just moved Ward down in his spot. So I think Womack has a good shot to bounce back and to develop. But that's still, you're taking a chance with just that itself. So, yeah. Yeah, Womack right now is a lock to play the slot because there is nobody else now at this point. Like, if there were games this week, it would have to be Womack, right? But it's still a lot of time. So there's still a lot of time. Greatness 54, what do you think the Niners will do to add rotation to their defensive line? Hello, Arden Key. Come back. You are a San Francisco 49er. I mean, you have to wait for Zadarius Smith to get cut if you want to do that, and you'd have to spend for him. But Arden Key is so, like, under the radar, and he had so much success last year in Jacksonville that it kind of feels like bring him back, right? He can play inside. He can play outside. He showed that last year. I think Omenihu is going to have a better market. Hopefully they can bring him back, but it would be one of those two. Maybe even bring back Ebukam depending on his market. But I would love to have Arden Key back. I think that right now he is just getting to where everybody thought he would be when he was drafted. So scratch the surface. He had a really good year last year. I implore you to go look up his numbers and watch some of his games over there in Jacksonville. He was a force. And is somebody that is so sneaky and is still kind of just laying in the weeds that if the 49ers got their hands back on him, it's almost like a slam dunk, and you've got to feel really good about that. He would have increased snaps than he did in 2021. So, yeah, I 100% would love to have Arden Key back, possibly Omenihu. And, you know, if the big splash would be if Zadarius Smith would find himself on the open market and the 49ers were able to move some money around, have him paired up with Bosa, and that would be Hargrave, Armstead, Bosa, Smith would be the most fearsome four the 49ers have ever had, including that 2019 team. So, all right, guys, almost 40 minutes in here. There's 200 people in here. I'm going to wrap this up. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Thank you, guys. And if you guys want me to do more of these midday, you know, after, you know, free agency and all the moves, if you want me to do more of these streams, I will. The content's going to be coming more and more as we have the draft coming up, as we have more free agency moves, as we have the 49ers restructuring contracts, all of those things. It's time to really ramp back up. So shout out to all you guys for getting in here. Shout out to the Rams fans for popping in. You guys are helping me, you know, drive up the numbers. So, you know, joke's on you. But thank you, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, let's go Niners. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.